Hey everybody, this is Mike Bono from the North Andover Athletic Association, and you are listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the show that brings you inside the lines of North Andover High School athletics. Welcome back, everyone. Our guest today is Bill Gordon from Gordon Physical Therapy, which is located at 70 Main Street here in North Andover. Bill's going to talk about some common injuries that he sees from high school athletes, injury prevention, how to handle injuries, and the role physical therapy plays in the recovery process. This is all relevant as kids get ready to get back into the high school athletic season over the next week or two. But before I introduce Bill, I want to let you know that Al is on vacation. We let him take a vacation this week. So I am joined by fellow NAAA board member Eric Mabley, who graciously offered to make his podcast debut in filling in Al's seat. So welcome to the podcast, Eric.
Thank you. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
on behalf of Al.
I think you normally listen to podcasts on your way into work.
Yes, I'm more of a consumer.
You're on the other side of the microphone. So welcome to this side of the microphone, although you probably listen to Yankees podcast,
This
right?
is true, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's too bad. But
you just lost half the audience.
Eric is a big Yankees fan. So Eric manages a lot of the technical aspects of the NAAA, like the website, the registration site, for the Knights on the Run 5K walk run. And speaking of which, registration is open.
That's correct.
You can visit naknights.org. The race is on Saturday, October 8th this year. It's moved up. That is moved up a weekend. So there shouldn't be too many athletic events that weekend. Hopefully we get a good turnout. The first 150 runners receive a T-shirt from the NAAA, and so please register. Anything to add on the race?
No, it's a great event, not only for the adults and young adults, but also the kids. There's an awesome kids component of it that Merrimack College helps us run, and it's an excellent portion of the event. Yeah,
Al touched on that in the first episode, and it's a great community event. Like just so many people down at the high school. So hopefully people will register, and we see you down there. So, Bill Gordon, yes. Welcome to the Nightly News Podcast. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me.
During the last episode, Steve Nugent had talked about how he married a townie here in North Andover, and how he was, I think, moved here in second grade, and he considers himself a townie. And I interjected and said that I think every other person in this town is a townie, and Bill, you are no exception to that. You are a townie.
I am a townie.
Dad was a town manager. You grew up on Milk Street. You have your business here. Your wife is a school teacher here. So I guess the first question is, like, do you ever leave North Andover?
Why would you leave North Andover? You know?
Gas prices do not affect the Gordon family. Everything you could possibly need is here in North Andover for you.
There you go.
Anyway, so and you have had you have four girls.
Four girls. Yep.
Al, the youngest one, is now going to be a freshman.
Yeah,
right?
so I have a freshman in high school, Elle. Rose is going to be a junior. Then I have a freshman in college, Summer, and junior in college, Emma.
And coincidentally, Summer is going to Bates.
Bates, yep.
And our co-host, Eric Mabley, is a graduate of Bates.
He's a Bobcat.
True.
He is,
Another fellow Bobcat. Love it.
And Eric's daughter is currently attending Bates.
Rising junior.
There you go.
So, all right, cool.
I'll just share some rides up there.
Gordon PT, I wanted to start with this, is a big supporter of the NAAA.
Yes.
The last number of years has been a big sponsor of our race, has set up a tent down at the finish line. Also sponsored the Booster Club 4th of July road race this year, which was great. I know you ran it, Bill. And,
yep.
I think you got...
So we love to give back to the community, and two great organizations that youth sports in town, the Booster Club and also the NAAA. So try to do what we can and give back.
Well, we appreciate that.
Both good organizations, and I get to run the road races.
And you get to run the road races, yes. Well, we appreciate that sincerely. So, as mentioned at the top, kids are getting ready to go back to school. My daughter is going to be a sophomore. You got two girls currently at the high school. Eric, you have a sophomore who's going to be playing soccer as well.
All athletes, yep.
Yeah, and so fall sports, football, field hockey, soccer, cross country, volleyball, golf.
Yep.
When you hear these sports, like what are some of the common injuries that kids might encounter that you see coming out of the fall?
So first, most common, thank you again for having me here. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything the NAAA does. A great opportunity to talk to you about physical therapy and how we handle the high school athletes in town and, that sort of thing. So, but most of the injuries that we see, especially as preseason starts, I'd say the majority is overuse injuries. Either the kids are coming in not fully prepared for their season, and now they're, running a lot more than they used to, or doing all sorts of double sessions and things like that, and their bodies aren't just able to handle it. So, hip flexor tendonitis, different overuse injuries, whether it's throwing injuries or running injuries. I would say that's the majority. The more traumatic injuries, the ACL tears and the meniscus tears and things like that, they're very prevalent as well. We do see a fair amount of high school kids with those injuries, and unfortunately, those kids often need surgery. So their season's done, and recovery is quite a long time.
Yeah. So for that athlete that maybe hasn't prepared, as much as they should have for the fall season, right? And they've been through it. Now they're coming back. So next year, what are some of the things that those kids can do aside from going from 0 to 100, a week before the athletic season's supposed to start?
I think all the sports are pretty good. In I think Andy Van Horn, I don't know if he still runs it or not, but the strength and conditioning program that they have at the high school throughout the summer, or some, and I'm sure just from my own kids' experience, coaching packets as far as maybe some preseason strength and conditioning things that you're going to need to do, or from experience, and if you're a freshman, maybe talk to some of the upperclassmen. What is that first week of practice like? What are some of the tests the coaches are going to make us do? Well, if you're going to have to run, a mile or 2 mile under a certain time, train for that, and just don't make that your first time running all summer long that first week, So start early July, if you haven't started now, start now. Get after it, and whether it's strength training or cardiovascular running training, that sort of thing, start getting ready.
Bill, is there, I know a lot of the kids start doing double sessions on the turf. Is there anything special as far as recommendations you would have for the kids who are doing a lot of turf training as part of the fall to avoid shin splints and the like?
Yeah. So if two part, and if you are going, and I'll just use field hockey for an example. So if you're playing on the turf, you want to wear turf shoes. But if you're also going to be doing conditioning, where maybe you're running the triangle or you're running the track, bring a second pair of shoes where you're actually a running pair of shoes. So track shoes or something, because there is a different little support going on there. So if there's going to be a lot of running, make sure you have the right footwear for that. The other thing is, if you are, predominantly playing on the turf, you're not wearing running sneakers. Make sure you have some turf shoes where there's a little bit of a grip. Not too much. You don't want too much of a spike with the turf shoes, because if you plant and there's no give, that stress can, be applied to the knee, and that can cause some knee injuries. So
that would be that would be football, right?
Yeah.
Is where they probably wear
something
cleat on the turf.
And I won't speak, as far as specific shoes for the football players. I'm sure they have that under control, but that is a concern. You want to make sure you're in the right shoe for the individual sport.
Great. What about for the kids that show up for their games? I'm thinking field hockey, soccer, a lot of running, right? Yep. Cross country.
Yep.
What types of warm-ups should they be doing prior to their competition? And talk about like post competition. Like a lot of kids just walk off the field, right? Game's
Correct.
over,
Yep.
race is over, they
Yep.
walk off.
Yep.
I've always understood like the stretching after you play is probably more important than before. I don't know if I just made that up or if that's a real thing.
No, that's a real thing. I would agree with that. I mean, in an ideal situation, you warm up for an event, you stretch a little, and then you do the event, and then afterward you cool down through a warm up again, of some sort of warm up, and then you stretch. That would be the appropriate process. All that being said, if you don't have time to stretch beforehand or something like that, it's better to warm up and then just go play and stretch after. If you're gonna, pick and choose, But and this is something that coaches can look up. There's many resources, and certainly anybody can email me, bill@gordonpt.net. bill@gordonpt.net. You can email me any questions. There are warm-up routines for teams that would also aid in injury prevention, specific ACL prevention. And I think back, Eric, to you and I, maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago with youth soccer, we did something. And that is something that you can incorporate into a pregame warm-up, pre-practice warm-up, There's an active warm-up, there's a strengthening component, an agility component through plyometrics, and then there's a stretching component. And it can all be done in 15, 20 minutes before a game or before practice, and you kind of incorporate that. And there's been studies showing that teams that do that sort of thing can reduce ACL injuries up to 75%. So be something to look up. Just one specific program. It's called the PEP program. It was put together by a bunch of orthopedic surgeons, I think about 12 years ago. And it seems like a pretty good program that teams and even individuals can follow. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Gordon PT graciously volunteered to co-run a session with a North Andover soccer team I was coaching at the time. And you guys ran through an exercise program like that, 15, 20 minutes at the beginning practice, everything you just described, the agility, the strength training, the stretching components. Yep. And, 15 minutes per practice is nothing to give up in comparison to a year-long ACL injury.
And every team should warm up before they practice anyway, and that it just gets incorporated into it. So.
And afterwards.
And afterwards.
And that cool down.
Afterwards it's a little different. You're not doing maybe the agility.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can go watch a Division I field hockey team, or just as an example, it's my experience, but any sport, and see what they do. Sometimes they may not do it out in the field, maybe they do it in the locker room or something like that. But a lot of them after the game, win or lose, they're running the field, back and forth a few times, and then they sit in a circle and they start stretching. Probably also a good way of debriefing, win or lose again, what we can learn from during the game. So.
And Bill's daughter does play field hockey at Division I Sacred Heart.
So I got four field hockey players.
Four field hockey players. So that is near and dear.
They're all up there.
Do you know the rules yet? I still haven't figured it out.
No one knows the rules.
All right,
only the officials.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Something we had talked about sort of off air a little bit that maybe you can touch on about. So the team that Eric, you were mentioning, a group of girls soccer team, right? You coach two girls soccer teams in your actually currently and in the past. You were saying that ACL injuries among females are more
prevalent.
Prevalent than males. And could you just talk about that? Why that is?
It's multifactorial, and it, without getting into the deep roots here, but it is a little bit of anatomy, a little bit smaller ACLs than the. Again, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, there's a little bit of anatomy and physiology behind it that men and women are different in that way. Recruitment of muscle. It's been shown that I think quads versus hamstring recruitment during play that is a factor, and it's difference between men and women athlete. But you can train that so your hamstrings are working more to help protect your knees. So either way, a good off-season and in-season strengthening program is good to help prevent ACL injuries. And it can start with kids in middle school. The other thing that happens with kids in middle school is they're growing. Girls and boys, they're growing. So just simple little hip and leg strengthening exercises, 4 or 5 maybe, that you could do 4 days a week, 3-4 days a week, will help prevent that. But it's been shown that stronger hip in core will help prevent ACL injuries with all athletes. So that would be a component of any strengthening program that you'd want to do. You want to incorporate some good core and hip strengthening exercises.
Okay. Yeah. That's good advice. So if somebody does have an injury, maybe it's a tweak, they feel something's not right. Could be a knee, could be a hamstring pain. Like what steps should they take in order to sort of, get it checked out, other than looking at WebMD and then figuring out that they tore their leg apart, and then they go to a doctor and say, no, you actually just got a sprain.
After you consult WebMD and you're not better in 2 weeks, or
or you're worse.
Yeah, or you're worse. No, well, first of all, if you're a high school athlete, the athletic trainers are right there, so certainly consult them. Often, a day or so of rest or a day or so of recovery. You're young, you're healthy, simple strain, you're going to feel better. When you come back, maybe monitor your volume as far as, especially, I'm just thinking cross-country runners, classic over, running too much, too much too soon, doing too many miles, that sort of thing. Just back that off, come back slowly. Sometimes as a kid, it's hard to realize, a little time off in the beginning of a season, or as soon as injury happens, you'll benefit later. You could ruin your whole season or have an injury linger all year long. If you just take some time off and let it heal, you might be better off in the long run, But if it's something that certainly you've consulted the athletic trainer, you've taken a few days, it's not getting better, then you want to follow up with a medical professional, either a doctor or Massachusetts, we have direct access. You can come directly to a physical therapist, depending on your insurance. And certainly a PT or a doctor can set you on the right path to getting better.
Is there if I had to choose between going and see Bill Gordon at Gordon PT or going and see an orthopedic, just as an initial consult, is there, what should help me make my decision there?
Well, it depends on the history of it. Like if I often sometimes, and this is not necessarily with the high school athlete, but I have, older adults that have back pain, right? Yeah. And they throw their back out, 2 or 3 times a year, and they know what's going on, but this time it's just not getting better. So that's a patient that might come directly to me. They, know, and then we see him and boom, But if you're a high school athlete and you've had a pretty good injury, maybe there's some swelling around your knee, probably a good idea to go see an orthopedic first and then come, get it checked out, because they're going to do a baseline X-ray. Certainly if it clinically they test it and it seems like there's a tear of some sort, they're going to get an MRI ordered, and then kind of go from there, And again, maybe the athletic trainer can help you with that as well, depending on the severity of the injury. But if it's an overuse injury, you've strained your calf muscle, nothing's torn, something like that, you could, either way, come directly see a PT or follow up your primary care physician or an orthopedic.
So rubbing dirt on it doesn't work anymore, like it did 40 years ago?
Well, for some athletes it might, Suck it up, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I guess it's the overuse injury with the running sports that, geez, it's just not going to get better if you keep on running on it, and that's the stuff that you want to back off,
And just on that, is it like when do you completely shut it down versus back off? Maybe, for a cross country runner, right?
Yep.
You don't have to go 90%, but maybe you can go 40% or 50% versus, you know what, shut it down and see how it feels in a week or two.
If it all depends, right? If sometimes with my running athletes, and I stop them from running. I say, I don't want you running until, daily life, walking around, no pain. Mm-hmm. If you're walking around school and you can't, and you're in pain, and you have a hard time going up and down stairs, you shouldn't be running. And then just like you said, okay, well, if you're running at 40 or 50%, you're not winning. You're not doing the team any good. You're not winning any races. 75%, maybe now you can, and it's not affecting your daily life, then maybe you can run through that a little bit at least for training, but not necessarily racing,
And just the last question on that is ice, heat, like when do you use ice? When do you use heat?
So also I would say, sometimes you can have a running injury, calf, something like that, lower hamstring, that can sometimes be a quick fix if you come see a physical therapist, because there may be an alignment issue in your pelvis that we can quickly fix, and it actually takes tension off the muscle, and it makes what you think is a calf strain completely disappear pretty quickly. So, a lot of injuries are tied to your core and your pelvic alignment. So that's something that you might want to get checked out, especially if you're having chronic injuries where you frequently, every time I run more than 4 miles, something hurts, and it's a different body part every time. But
I know that works. It worked for my family. Yeah. I know countless other people it's worked for. So, and it's a simple.
Yeah, it's a quick. Sometimes it can be a quick fix. Sometimes it can. And I apologize, I forgot your question.
I was talking about sometimes people say, use ice, use heat.
Yep. I would say most athletic injuries you want to use, especially ice right away, because you want to get rid of the inflammation, help decrease inflammation. Ice is always good because it either helps with inflammation or it numbs pain. So it can act, in both ways. Okay. Heat is the funny thing. Sometimes what an injury is, it's not a muscle tear or a strain. It's a muscle that goes into a spasm. Let's say a hypertonic muscle. So that muscle would love heat. Because you're increasing blood flow to it, and it helps relax it, release it. And if you ever had a strained neck, let's say, or something like that, or even back pain, sometimes those muscles are the ones that like heat more than ice. So you can always try heat. If you put heat on something and it feels like it's getting worse or it's starting to, throb, then take the heat off, put the ice on. But ice is always good. Heat can be better in certain situations.
Okay,
cool. Hey, Bill, we've talked a lot about the youth sports, appropriately so. Mm-hmm. That's what NAAA focuses on as a high school athlete. But let's talk about some of the old timers, the parents.
Yep.
And I'm curious if there's any additional guidance or different guidance you would give for, hypothetically, some old guy getting back into playing hockey or baseball or soccer. Again, purely hypothetical.
Yeah.
Would your recommendation simply be to stick with cornhole and bocce?
No.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
It's good for business.
There you go.
You paddle ball.
I'll see you next week. Right.
CrossFit, awesome.
Yeah.
I think similar to your high school athlete, you don't want to be, okay, Thursday night, I'm playing, I'm going to stop playing basketball tomorrow in full court, here we go. Get into it slowly, warm up, if you're going to play ice hockey, why don't you go to the rink and skate a few times first, you know? If you're gonna, even if you're gonna start golfing, probably a good idea to go to the range for a few times before you just go right out there and start playing golf, you know? So some sort of preseason, if you will, you know, and then get into the game. What I would say for all athletes or athletes of all ages, and I've said this before, core stability is huge. And, you know, a few simple exercises, bridging, you know, some sort of modified plank to make it easy enough so you can do it. And there's ways of modifying planks. Side leg raises for the side of your butt. What I call up, down, downs. It's more like if you think of a bicycle when you're laying on your back, little leg kicks. Those few exercises and maybe a little bit of a squat. Good core strengthening exercises are good for everyone.
So a high school athlete, something happens, they go to see an orthopedic or they come to see you, there's some sort of an injury. When they come to your office, take us through that. Like what are they going to encounter? Like what are the types of things that you're going to do to get them on the right track?
The first, first of all, we have great communication with all the local orthopedics and primary care physicians. They'll send us an order for physical therapy, usually if the patient will come with an order. It basically describes the diagnosis and then any specific instructions from that doctor. But that first appointment is at a physical therapy evaluation. It usually lasts about 45 minutes. We go over a little bit of a history of how it happened. What are you feeling now? What can and can't you do? What are your goals? Is your goal just to live life and not have any pain, or are you a high school athlete that has to return to sports? Are there certain games that you're getting close to tournament time? What are your goals? What are we trying to get you back for, right? And then we put them through an assessment where we're testing range of motion, strength, what the primary problems are that we have to fix, and then typically you'll leave that appointment with doing one or two things at home that will help us determine what to do next visit. So you'll do these one or two things over the next few days. You'll come back and say, hey, I'm feeling a lot better. Okay, well, we're on the right track. Or no, no change. Okay, well, we have to dig a little deeper and keep going, But that in a nutshell is what we would do. Typical 2 times a week, 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks for a standard patient care plan. Certainly if you have an ACL injury, it might be 10 weeks or so, 10 to 12. Insurance does cut us off at a certain point where they no longer need physical therapy, but they will then need to continue with a strength and conditioning specialist because they're nowhere near close to returning to sport yet. And that usually happens around 12 weeks post-op.
Great. So. Yeah. Good stuff. That's all good information. I think everybody's going to appreciate. And it's inevitable. Like injuries happen. They've happened to every single one of my kids. So this is good intel to help them, figure out what next steps are if it does happen.
And so I would take this opportunity to plug Gordon Physical Therapy.
Please.
Only because, so we're a private outpatient clinic. We're not affiliated with anyone. And it's a unique physical therapy experience, I think. And that's what I've tried to create, where you're working one-on-one with a physical therapist, only a physical therapist. We don't hand off patients to rehab aides or physical therapy assistants where, and you continuity of care. You stay with one physical therapist throughout the course of your treatment. Our appointments are 40 minutes long. Well, they're booked 40 minutes. You're usually there 40 to an hour, depending on your care. But that's the unique patient-focused care that you're going to get at Gordon Physical Therapy.
Great.
Yeah, and as I recall, that was some of those services led to the recent acknowledgement of Gordon PT as one of Andover's best.
Yeah, so we were just voted. Thank you, Eric. That was smooth. Yeah, we were just by the readers of the Andover's magazine. We were voted the area's best PT clinic.
Congratulations.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Well done.
Yep. Thank you.
Anything else, Eric?
I was just going to shift gears a little bit, if it's okay, Mike.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
I'm the guest here.
Yes.
Or another guest. So, Bill, we have friends and kids and acquaintances who are interested in the physical therapy industry, the field.
Yeah.
And is there any guidance or advice you'd give to a student, a high school student who's looking to stay in the field or get in the field?
Sure. Well, first, I love being a physical therapist. I think it's a great profession. There is a strong demand for physical therapists. So there's some pretty good job security there. And it should, 20 years down the road, the projection of the career growth is everyone benefits from physical therapy, and we're all getting older. So
won't be robots performing the task.
Yeah, no, that's not good. WebMD.
WebMD, yeah.
So I'm a strong advocate. Good profession to get into. And what's also nice about physical therapy is it's wide-ranging. So I'm an outpatient orthopedic physical therapist. So, and I like that. I see relatively immediate results with patients. Is a little bit of a higher turnover. We see patients 6 at a time. So 6 weeks-ish, and then they're all better. And there's a certain amount of immediate gratification that you're making people better relatively quickly, okay? But there are other specialties. Well, first, you specialize in neuro, where you're working more in an inpatient setting, where your patients that have had strokes or CVAs and things like that. They do an awesome job. And another possibility is inpatient rehab, where you're working in an acute care hospital. People that just had surgery, they need to get up and get out of the hospital, back to home. Home PT, you go visit patients that are homebound, right? Another opportunity is working with kids, pediatrics. All the school systems hire PTs. So invaluable service there. You work with OTs, PTs, and speech in that environment. So wide variety of things you can get into. I always thought, I'm gonna be a PT for the Patriots or something, and sports, and that's another opportunity as well, so excellent opportunity. It's a graduate program. It's a doctorate level graduate program now. So it's 3 years after college. You graduate with a DPT. So what I would recommend, undergraduate, you got to do really well in school. You have to take all the science prerequisites to get into the program. So you can major in, a lot of kids major in health sciences. That covers the prerequisites, and then they go on and apply to a graduate school. Some schools, for example, my daughter Emma is at Sacred Heart University. As a freshman, she was accepted into the PT track. So if she held the grades and wanted to continue into PT, they would have held a spot for her at Sacred Heart, beyond. Beautiful thing about college, you can change your mind. And she's decided that she wants to go into nursing. So she's still in that health sciences biology track, but she's going to go on to nursing instead of physical therapy after. So yeah, you major in something that satisfies the prerequisites. You do very well in school, and then you get into a PT program.
Well, that's the track that my daughter, Anna, is still on.
Yeah.
She hasn't changed it yet, so we'll see. Yeah. I don't know, but...
She can come look for a job at Gordon PT.
Anything else that you wanted to mention, Bill, about Gordon PT, about anything we mentioned? Oh, I wanted to say, after somebody goes through your program over here, when they come, they get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, they did. in a pitcher.
Yeah, as supplies
as supplies last. Yes.
And currently, if you're a large, extra large, triple XL or double XL, you're all set. But the smaller sizes are all
supply
gone.
chain issues everywhere, affecting us all. So
you get a little graduate certificate, you know, and supplies available. You get a T-shirt, nice dry fit,
and it's a great logo. I'm looking at it on you right now, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a little tip of the hat to swim, bike, and run.
A little triathlon tip of the hat.
Something that you have done a few of. Ironman triathlons.
Yep. A long time ago now, but yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being our guest. This was invaluable. I think a lot of parents, a lot of the high school athletes are going to get a lot out of listening to this. It's certainly relevant, as I said at the top. Appreciate all that you do for the high school athletes. Appreciate all you do for the NAAA, the Booster Club, all your support in town. And I'm sure we'll see you on the sidelines in the fall season as your girls are participating in both college sports, high school sports. We'll see you out there.
Very good. Looking forward to it.
Cheering you on. As we mentioned earlier, before we go, register for the Knights on the Run 5K run walk and the kids run October 8th. You can register at naknights.org, and we hope to see you out there in October. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will catch up with you next time.